DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk today. I'm glad that you joined us. We have a special guest, Dr. Dan Lloyd, the director of the Iowa Beef Center from Iowa State University. Is going to be with us. We're going to talk about steroid implants. We're going to talk about the impact they have on the efficiency of the beef industry, the impact on carcass, and some of the things and myths about safety. Thanks for joining us.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Well, welcome to the show. Folks, this is Dr. Dan Lloyd. He's from Iowa State University, where he's a professor and the director of the Iowa Beef Center. And we're pleased to have you here on the show and taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk about steroid implants.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. It's exciting to be here down in Manhattan, Kansas.
Well, it's, you know, the work that you've done for our industry, the work you continue to do, whether it's through extension or outreach, steroid implants has been a part of your life for quite a while, haven't they?
Long time. I actually did my thesis work on this many years ago. And actually, Dan, if you recall, we used to sit down and talk about implants like this when you were in graduate school, only we didn't have a camera.
I know. I followed your work, and Rod Preston and yourself, and then I did my thesis on steroid implants.
Yep,
so this is kind of exciting for me to be able to spend this. So tell me a little bit about steroid implants and what they are and kind of what they do.
Yeah, well, so it's a technology that the beef industry relies on quite a bit and is a little bit misunderstood. But if you look at products and technologies that are out there in terms of the ability to return value per dollar invested, there's probably no technology that does that or reduces the cost of production and ultimately the cost of beef for consumers more than implants do. And so that's something I think that's really important to consider as we look at. I mean, basically we're looking at, with implants, we're looking at products that can increase growth rate in cattle from 10 to as much as 25 or 30% for a terminal implant, and feed conversions from somewhere around 7 or 8% for you know the basic estrogen type implants to as much as 15 to almost 20%. And so if you look at that and its impact on the growth rate in the product, in the cost of production, there's really not any other technologies that do that to that extent.
Steroids were discovered or patented at least in the 50s at Iowa State.
That's right. That's right. The very first implants were developed by Dr. Burroughs at Iowa State, and you know, it led to the development of some of the you know, pharmaceutical companies that exist today that are still in the implant business.
Big time. And so, you know, one of the things is that, you know, we're not talking about big amounts of compound. being placed in the air.
No, it's a very small amount. And you know, one of the things that kind of differentiate the beef industry in the U.S. compared to Europe or Brazil is that American consumers don't like to eat meat from bulls, and so this technology replaces some of those hormones that would naturally exist and the effects that they have on growth rate in carcass. And it does the same thing with younger heifers that naturally produce less estrogen, for example. But the amounts to do that are just minuscule in comparison to what's naturally produced in the beef animal.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here on the show. We're going to take a break, folks, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how these implants work, how to design a program for your farm or ranch. More with Dr. Dan Loy from Iowa State University after these messages.
This Meet the Future Veterinarian is brought to you by Zuprevo. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Jim Coffey grew up in Prairie Grove, Arkansas, just outside of Fayetteville, on a small sheep and dairy goat farm. Since childhood, Jim has always had an affinity for animals, especially large animal production with cattle and small ruminants. After graduation, he'll be heading off to Disneyland, but after that he plans to join a mixed animal practice in Shattuck, Oklahoma.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide. Presented by Lucas Oil. Featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV. The all-new Better Horses Network.
Do your cattle struggle with pink eye, BRD, or another disease? Contact Newport Laboratories for a customized solution. Our custom-made vaccines are produced using the specific diseases found in your area. These USDA licensed vaccines offer potential cost savings on vaccine and labor. Contact your veterinarian or Newport Laboratories the next time your cattle are in need of a custom solution. Newport Laboratories custom-made vaccine, because every situation is different.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan here with Dr. Dan, Dr. Dan Thomson and Dr. Dan Loy. Dr. Loy is the director of the Iowa Beef Center at Iowa State University, and he's in the Department of Animal Sciences there. And, you know, what kind of compounds are we utilizing in steroid implants?
Well, there's several different compounds that you'll find if you read the labels and look at what veterinarians have on the shelves, but really there's two basic active ingredients that really promote growth that are in those compounds. They're both hormones. One is estrogen. You know, you mentioned that I did research on this many years ago as part of my thesis. At that time, all of the implants that were available were estrogen implants. Later, the androgen implants were developed, and that's the implants I believe you worked on and as part of your work. And those are male hormones. They're different than the male hormones that are naturally produced in that they're more anabolic in that they promote muscle growth and have less of some of the sexual side effects that we see, the cresty necks and those types of effects. But both of those work by increasing muscle growth, repartitioning nutrients from fat to muscle, and in that, as a result of that, we see faster growth rate and we see a more efficient product that's produced. The important thing and the reason that we differentiate between the androgens and the estrogens is that some of the implants contain both of those. And when you do that, you basically double the response. And so when you might get a 10 or 12% improvement in daily gain with the combination implants, it's more like 20% or even. We have a study going on right now at Iowa State looking at implants and no implants in finishing cattle. And in the first 56 days, the response was about 25% in terms of growth rate with no implant versus a combination implant. And those are the ones that are usually used as the final implant, the terminal implant, when we, in a feedlot situation.
Yep. So when I go about developing a program for my cattle, and you have some great materials on the Iowa Beef Center, and that's kind of where I came up with the idea of doing this show. Because how do you start out having that conversation about what's best for my herd or my group of steers?
Yeah, well, I think the important thing to remember, and I really emphasize this with producers, is that the most important implant is the last implant before you market the cattle. And if you're a cow-calf producer, that's that calf hood implant. You're going to get 30 pounds more weaning weight, plus or minus 10 pounds. With a feedlot producer, it's that terminal implant in the feedlot. And if you develop your marketing date, work back 60 to 100 days, usually we say 70 or 80 days, and that's when you need to administer your terminal implant. Then depending on the timing prior to that, then you determine the implant that you use prior to that.
Gotcha. So we'd use an initial implant up front in the feeding period, and then the second implant, if needed, if they're going to be on feed that long, we'd come back at 70 to 100 days prior to slaughter.
Exactly.
Good. Well, we're going to get into more about the effects of these different implant programs that they have on performance, on carcass, and attaining your goals for you and your farm. You're watching DocTalk, and we're sure glad that you joined us.
The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica Inc.
Howdy, I'm Kurt Pate with the Tip of the Day. We deal with a lot of bulls around this place, and we get along with them pretty good because we work them a lot. And if you work them properly and move them quite a bit, the fighting will reduce, and every time you move them, they learn to take pressure, and then when you start to work with them, they don't start fighting each other.
Say this is a calf that's been run through the chute a few too many times. Going through the chute stresses cattle, causing them not to eat like they should. Luckily, Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ provides proven protection against key respiratory diseases in a single shot, with just one trip through the chute. Talk to your veterinarian about Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ, and soon your calves will relax and eat like a whole different animal.
It takes vision, dedication, hard work. It takes knowing who you can trust. At Zinpro Corporation, we have more industry-endorsed research behind our trace minerals than any other company. Proof that our patented performance minerals help improve overall animal health and performance. Lots of companies make claims. At Zinpro, we generate results.
Do your cattle struggle with pink eye, BRD, or another disease? Contact Newport Laboratories for a customized solution. Our custom-made vaccines are produced using the specific diseases found in your area. These USDA licensed vaccines offer potential cost savings on vaccine and labor. Contact your veterinarian or Newport Laboratories the next time your cattle are in need of a custom solution. Newport Laboratories custom-made vaccine, because every situation is different.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Dan Loy. We're at Kansas State University, and Dr. Loy is here visiting today from the Iowa Beef Center at Iowa State University, where he's the director. And we're talking about steroid implants. And we got to that picking the last implant that we would give the cattle as we own them, whether it's the calf hood or the terminal implant for feeder steers. Now there's some potentially in between.
Well, yes. I mean, if you look at the different combinations that are available out there, you know, there's 30 to 30, I think 34 is the number of implants that are on shelves that veterinarians have. And if you start looking at the potential number of implants that can be used, let's say if you use 2 in a finishing period, that's 34 squared potential combinations that could be used in an implant program. So it gets to be really confusing for producers. So what we like to do is, you know, classify it by their active ingredient, the estrogen or the androgen, their dosage or their potency, and then the implants within that group. I don't feel strongly about which ones they pick. So that narrows it down. And then start, as I mentioned, start at the end, because that last implant, the last 80 to 100 days, is the most important implant that they're using. And then count backwards, and then look at your goals, your strategic goals on what you want to accomplish for that period prior to that. The worst time to develop an implant program is when the veterinarian's standing there in front of the chute, you're processing calves, and say, hey doc, what should I use? And that happens way too often. So be strategic, start at the end, start at the marketing, because that's when the cattle are growing the fastest. The response is on a percentage basis, and so having the best implant you can use in working when those cattle are growing the fastest is going to be the most effective.
So at the end, you're going to have that terminal or the highest potency implant, and then I'm assuming that your lower potency implants are what you're going to use on the suckling calves.
Exactly.
And then those medium.
And then in the medium in between will be kind of developed on the timing. If it's a short duration, you might use a lower dosage, and your overall strategies and goals. If your goal is to, you know, you're in a situation where feed costs are low, you want to maximize your impact on cost of production, you might be more aggressive and use the higher potency. If you're concerned about carcass quality, and we may get into that in another segment, then you might be a little more conservative at the end.
Yeah, so I always look at the low, medium, high potency implants, of 3 implants in a calf's life, but there are other products on the market now that we may not even have to re-implant.
Some of the newer technologies are looking at the delivery system where it extends the time that the implants are available, and that's the newest implants that are out there. They're a little more expensive, but they reduce the need to bring the cattle in and re-implant them, and so that it really increases the flexibility.
And when I'm out in practice, if a person doesn't know the number of days that cattle are going to be on feed, generally speaking, I'll use one of those longer day implants, because then we just don't have to have the guesswork involved. Well, this has been a great show, folks, to get Dr. Loy here on the show. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the effects of implants on carcass and some of the myths about safety. You're watching DocTalk. More after these messages.
I've always had an interest in care for the animals and their well-being. Really what we want to do is work hard to eliminate as much feedlot lameness or beef cattle lameness as possible.
How we feed a cow on a daily basis can not only have daily effects, but they can also have long-term effects on claw health, reproductive performance, mammary health, all of those factors, as we look at the inputs and the response that the animal has to what we feed them.
When animals have adequate intake of effective nutrients, we take care of the immune system and performance follows. It's important that the consumers understand our dedication to the well-being of these animals.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Horn flies are a nuisance and a production loss, so getting rid of the problem is important. What I like about the vet gun is you don't have to go out there weekly to treat them with a topical fly applicant. It has some duration, it lasts. You see the increase in weight gain, it just works. I've used it on our 1,500 cow-calf operation, and it makes me more confident in saying, hey, this product's gonna work on your operation too.
Broadband has become as important to us as highways. That is why DocTalk is teaming up with NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association, and rural broadband companies like Blue Valley Telecommunications in fighting for quality broadband access through the program Smart Rural Communities.
I don't think we have any idea what's coming in the future. I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago what we're doing today. So in 2 years, I would guess there's things we can't imagine that we're going to be doing.
To learn more, visit ntca.org/smart or bluevalley.net.
It's easy to spot the man who uses Synanthic. With lower volume and less waste, Synanthic steps up your deworming routine. Get more deworming with less dewormer at Synanthic.com.
Beringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Inc. knows the importance of beef quality assurance and asks you to step up and get certified. Go to bqa.org for details.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here with Dr. Dan Loy, who's the director of the Iowa Beef Center at Iowa State University, which they have a wonderful website that you need to go and check out. And your website is?
IowaBeefCenter.org. Iowa Beef Center, all one word.
Yep, IowaBeefCenter.org. And so let's talk a little bit about carcass and safety with steroid implants. So what impacts will I notice with steroid implants on the carcass, or potentially notice?
Well, I mentioned that in other countries the preferred production is bulls, and right. So bulls, they grow faster, they're more muscular, they'll have their growth rate of muscle is faster, they have less fat, and so what implants do is take steers, which is the preferred beef that consumers in the U.S. like, and brings back some of that lost performance that we would have with bulls. So it shifts the growth curve. Basically what we see is it has some of the effects, if you're familiar with frame size. An implant will increase the frame size about 1 frame score. So at the same weight, they're going to have more muscle and less fat. And with the combination implants we talked about, it has about the same effect as increasing at about 2 frame scores. So we're looking at cattle that need to be 150 to as much as 200 pounds heavier to be at the same body composition, same fat thickness, same yield grade, and same carcass quality. And so that means we may need to feed them a few extra days on feed to get them to the same marbling score. Or if we're going to be more aggressive in our feeding program, we may slightly decrease marbling score. Some of our combination implants have a little higher dosage, and we can sometimes see maybe a 10% reduction in carcass quality grade, but at the same time a further improvement in feed efficiency. So there's trade-offs there depending on what the incentives are from a carcass standpoint and as well as a cost of production standpoint.
Cool. Well, I know you've done some work on safety in steroid implants, and we don't have much time, but if you can kind of summarize some of the stuff, and it's on the website, correct?
It's on the website. We have a fact sheet that's kind of written for consumers on, hormones in beef. Why do we use hormone implants? What are the impacts on the beef product and that type of thing? Just to kind of summarize very quickly, the amount of estrogen, for example, that's added in a beef steak, and I looked at it as a pound beef steak. Most people don't quite eat that much. Is added as just a couple of nanograms, which is a very small amount in comparison to the thousands of nanograms that we produce in our bodies every day, whether we're male or female. And in other food products, legumes, soy specifically, have much, much more.
Yeah. Well, go to their website, iowabeefcenter.org, and check out all the information they have on implants, on safety, carcass, and all that. Thanks for being on the show today.
You bet.
Dr.
Happy to do it.
Thanks for watching today. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian, and if you want to know more about what we do on DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Thanks for watching today, folks. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com. DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.